Hey, Forrest here. Nothing like getting paid. And with ICCU's mobile app, I can deposit checks or accept Zelle payments so the money hits my account fast. I just wish there was an app for mowing the rest of these lawns.
Right now, Lithia Ford of Boise is buying used vehicles. How much you want for the SUV?
I don't know.
Well, Lithia Ford will give you more than that.
How much more?
More than you think.
I'm not thinking anything.
I'm thinking you might get even more than that. See how much more you can get at Lithia Ford of Boise.
When it comes to concrete, we've got you covered. RowPaint.com offers custom concrete coating services for your garage, business, warehouse, and more. And we do it in one day. We are your complete concrete coatings solution.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Now, here's BJ Rains with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
Hey, how's it going, Boise State fans? Happy Tuesday to you. Jay, you just set a record for popping on as late as possible there. I figured you would pop on, but there he is, Jay Tust. He was here for the show meeting an hour ago, went and got some coffee, and now he's back ready to go for another edition of Bronco Nation News Live on another big day for Jay Tust here. The division series gets going. I've already turned my attention to hockey here, Jay. I've already moved on. It's hockey season now, but no, I'm pulling for your Mariners, man. It's going to be fun to watch, and that's kind of my, I'll pull for the Mariners now. I don't have a dog in the fight, so we'll pull for you and all the Mariners fans out there.
I'm just saying, if you look at all the teams left in the playoffs, who is the most likable team?
Maybe the Mariners.
It might be the Mariners. So I'll take that right now at this point.
It's going to be tough, though. I had Gordy Presnell on my show yesterday, Jay, and he's actually thrown out the first pitch at 2 Seattle Mariners games in his life when he was the Seattle Pacific coach. And I said it's going to be tough to decide for Game 1 of the World Series. Is it Gordy Presnell or Jay Tust? I mean, that's going to be a tough one to decide.
Definitely Gordy Presnell. Without a doubt in my mind, Gordy Presnell. He only has like 700,000 wins. So
713, I believe it is. Number 10 active all-time winningest coach right now. But we enjoyed catching up with him. Nick Wade says Braves back-to-back. We'll see. I think at least one, Jay, and maybe 2 of the division series winners get out, or the teams that had the bye get ousted this week. And you see in college basketball how the teams that go to the first 4 usually get hot and win a game or two. Baseball is not a sport where you want to sit around for a week and try to come back and have your pitching, timing, and all that going. I think there's certainly a team, and I think the Mariners might be one of them. Maybe the Astros are sitting around waiting. Braves, I see, could get the Phillies, but the advantage that team does have, as you know, Jay, is the pitching, at least for Game 1. It's massive advantages for the team that sat out. Yeah,
and that's the thing is that if anything, that rest works for pitching. I don't know if it works for hitting because live – facing an opponent live that's trying to get you out is really hard to simulate.
Yep.
So maybe it'll buy us an advantage with the bats a little bit. The nerves will be out since we've already played a couple games, but I'm certainly looking forward to it. It's going to be awesome. Not stoked about facing Justin Verlander, but outside of that, it's going to be awesome. Plus, we get to see a kid in Logan Gilbert, 24 years old, try to rise to the occasion today. So it'll be cool.
Yeah. Well, I was here in St. Louis all ready to go to a game, but there's no game, so. I'll pull for the Mariners today, but good luck to all the baseball teams out there. Love this time of year when you get day baseball in the playoffs. Should be a lot of fun. Hey, we're broadcasting from the Cutwater Canned Cocktails Studios. Make sure you pick up that perfectly pre-mixed canned cocktail of your next favorite drink. More than 30 flavors of Cutwater canned cocktails, and you can find one at your nearest grocery store or gas station. We got a lot to talk about, Jay, in terms of the game the other day, but I wanted to start with a press release I saw from the WWE come down about 30 minutes ago. Are you aware of what I'm talking about?
Leon Rice is joining the WWE?
Well, according to the press release from WWE, they are doing a fall campus rush tour. a fall campus rush tour to try to recruit athletes, and they will be on the campus of Boise State University on November 8th. So Scott Matlock, one of the other linemen, who do you think from the Boise State football team, if they want to have a career in the WWE, might be interested in this when they come to town here in a couple weeks?
Ooh, that's a good one.
And I'm sorry to spin that on you if you hadn't seen it yet.
I hadn't. But, I was trying to search something really quick because I don't want to get his name wrong. I believe, JT Felix. Back in the day, he was a heavyweight wrestler.
Tyler Crow needs a career according to Chris V.
Ooh, he's got the hair. Yeah, for sure. I could see that. But back in the day, there was a guy named JT Felix. He was a heavyweight wrestler for Boise State. And I know that he kind of dabbled with going into that like WWE type wrestling for a little while. He was a really, really smart dude. So I think other opportunities presented himself, but he definitely looked the part as a heavyweight. He wasn't like, he was a cut up heavyweight. Let's just say that. So that'll be cool to see who comes up. But yeah.
It's a WWE Campus Rush. It's a multi-campus college athlete recruitment tour, which will stop at the top division NCAA Division I universities and search for the next generation of WWE superstars. WWE superstars will be on the trip, such as Big E, Bianca Belair, Omos, Madness Moss, and Raquel Rodriguez, all of whom have transitioned from college athletics to a career in the WWE. They will address student athletes at each tour stop and educate them about the global leader in sports entertainment. And in conjunction with each university, student athletes will learn about their Next in Line program, the NIL program, the resources they can utilize, including brand building, social media, fan engagement, media training, and more. Each stop on the tour will include a lively competition that features student athletes facing off on the microphone to cut the best WWE-style promo. It will start tomorrow at the University of Mississippi, and the fall tour, Jay, will have 8 stops: Georgia Tech, Clemson, Boise State, Arkansas, Ohio State, Kansas, and Penn State. So all Power Fives except for Boise State, and they're getting a stop on November 8th. Pretty cool. And again, they're the only school kind of west of the Mississippi, I guess. So you have Kansas, but not really a lot of schools out west, and they're coming all the way out to Boise State on November 8th. Kind of a cool thing that we just found out about, and still looking to get more information.
Man, well, I will say this. I don't know how many Boise State football players are going to be in town for that.
What day of the week is it? November 8th.
If it's November 8th, all the Boise State football. Is it? Oh, yeah. Okay, my bad. Sorry. Yeah, okay.
Between the BYU game and the Nevada game.
Okay, so yeah, maybe a few will be here then. That's right. I was thinking the 9th was a Saturday this year.
Nick Wade says Najee Smith from the basketball team would be a good guy to have the charisma of a WWE athlete. What do you think?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to think. If you want to talk about like hype speech or something like that, like a Tyreek Jones or something.
Scotty, Dimitri Washington, DJ Schramm, according to Nick.
DJ would be good because like his character is already built with like all like the arm hair and like the gigantic beard. So
I think it's got to be Scott Matlock, right? With the hair.
With the hair, well manicured, beard, cool tats. Like he'd be a good one. He'd be a really good one. I do think Tyler Crow would be a really good one though too.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anybody else along one of those other D linemen or offensive linemen who's kind of a.
George Tarlas would probably have a cool character to him. I mean, like it's not only being like big and strong; it's also being a character. So George
I could see a Tyreek Jones type guy coming off the top rope with some crazy leg spin move to pin a guy.
Mm-hmm.
Rudy says he could see Herbert Gums dropping the elbow from the top rope. I want no part of Herbert Gums jumping down with an elbow on me. No, that's pretty cool though. So we'll get some more information on that. Again, WWE Campus Tour. WWE just put the press release out like literally a minute or two before the show started. So we'll see if Boise State has any response to that. I assume they were involved, Jay. If they're coming all the way to their campus, I'm sure they approved it or set it up, and we'll see what that entails here moving forward. But kind of cool. And the WWE has done some NIL deals in the past with guys. They bring them in while they're still in college, and so they're able to kind of get some money and things that way before they actually join the WWE. So we'll see. I always thought WWE – I had a hard time, kind of like Santa Claus growing up, Jay, believing that the WWE was not real, when I was a little kid. But I finally did, I think at one point, heard a ref talk.
I have no idea what you're talking about on any level of this.
You never watched WWE?
No, it's all real.
Oh, of course.
Whether
Yeah.
you be Chris Kringle or WWE, I'm just absolutely.
Yeah, I am sorry for the kids that are watching about Santa Claus. Yeah, I just kind of ruined somebody's Christmas there. I apologize for that. But we got a lot going on today. We got playoff baseball. We got WWE coming to town. And we got a football team that's won 2 games in a row. Also coming up about 9:30, we are going to have Jim Thomas, the women's soccer coach, join us. Jay will do his regular 30 minutes here, and then we'll say goodbye to him. And I've got Jim Thomas coming on, and we'll talk some women's soccer. They're having a historic run right now, Jay, over 750 minutes, I believe it is, without allowing a goal. 7 straight games they have not allowed a goal. They've tied 5 of those games, unfortunately, so they're not able to score much themselves right now. But they're tied for second place in the Mountain West, but pretty unheard of. 7 straight games, and they're like second in the league in shots taken and like last in saves. So in terms of fewest saves allowed, they've made the fewest. So they're shooting a lot, and they're not giving up many shots, and yet they're 5-0-0 ties in the last 7 games. But pretty impressive what Jim Thomas and his crew is doing. 7 straight shutouts, 750 minutes. Like I said, they've not given up a goal, and we'll talk to Jim Thomas here about 9:30.
Yeah, 6-2-7 overall. So they technically haven't lost in conference play, right? 2 wins, 4 ties.
I believe was the last loss. Yeah.
Yeah, but they tested themselves early in the season too with some stiff competition. I know they played Arizona State. They got a good squad. They played Oregon State, and then they went over to Oregon, and they were conveniently in Corvallis while we were in Corvallis.
Yeah, how about you getting over there hustling down to get some footage?
Yeah, so they tested themselves early, and it obviously paid off. So.
Well, we'll talk.
Plus, Jim's an awesome interview. I know you've talked to him before, but he's a great interview. He's awesome.
Yeah, he is. He's a great guy, and looking forward to catching up with him. And we're doing that all week. We had Gordy Presnell on yesterday. Tomorrow we'll talk Kalen Downs, women's golf. They're off to a good season. They've won a tournament this fall already. We're going to do Sean Garris on Thursday. I'm thinking of Scott Matlock. Sean Garris, they play Utah State tonight, and then he'll join us on Thursday before they head out on the road to UNLV. The volleyball team is also off to a very impressive start. They're near the top of the Mountain West standings. And then so we'll go women's sports the first 4 days of the week, and then we'll wrap it up with Leon Rice on Friday, checking in on the men's basketball team. They're a week away.
What sport does he coach?
I may have to ask him about WWE. I mean, maybe he's. I could see him being a guy that could get in the ring there, and he'd probably, if he was one of the script writers, I'm sure he could come up with some good storylines.
He's pretty stoked about the workouts he's been doing with Darren College. So
we hear, you know what? That's a good. Darren College would actually be an interesting.
There we go.
WWE guy. How about that? They already had WWE back on the blue, and LeGarrette Blunt came, according to Foster. Yeah, technically, I guess. Billy Bowens has the hero chin, according to OK Bro Chill, who, by the way, OK Bro Chill is our newest subscriber, number 603. So saw you pop in there, OK Bro Chill. Appreciate you, man. And we're up to 603 paid subscribers, so we appreciate all of you guys. But we'll talk with Leon Rice Friday. They've got the secret scrimmage, as it's called, with Oregon, who's a top 10 team coming up here in a week or two, so we'll check in with them as well. But kind of fun, I'm sure, as you're doing, Jay, hitting some of the high schools, doing a little bit of non-BSU stuff this week with the bye week going on. So trying to check in on some of the non-football sports going on at Boise State. And again, we'll have Coach Jim Thomas coming up here in about 16 minutes. But let's talk some football first. Want to tell you about a couple of our sponsors real quick. Thank you to Transportation Compliance Service, transcomservice.com. If you're looking to get into the trucking industry or looking for a new job, it's perfect. And I'm talking the big rig on the screen. I'm talking the Amazon truck in your neighborhood, everything in between. If you want to get out there towing that first load in no time, let the folks at Transcom Service help you out with all the permits and things. It's a very easy, quick process, and they'll help you out. Check them out at transcomservice.com. The Blue and Orange Store, free shipping, any order over $40. That's right. Any order over $40 gets you free shipping at the Blue and Orange Store. Make sure you check them out online, theblueandorangestore.com, or if you're in Boise, the Boise Town Square Mall, you can check them out there right next to Pro Image up on the second floor. Ridley's Family Markets, shop ridleys.com. 13 Idaho locations. They got the at-home shopping, the Skip app, the home delivery. Support your local grocery store. Check out Ridley's Family Markets. BoiseDentistryCo.com as well. Check them out if you're looking for a new dentist. Full Family Dentistry. My whole family uses Dr. Meinert. Those are my kids on the screen there. So check them out. BoiseDentistryCo.com. We're talking your kids, your grandparents, your aunt, your uncle, whoever, and they got the newest technology and equipment, and they just do a great job. Locations across the Treasure Valley. Check them out. BoiseDentistryCo.com. Let's see what the comments here. Oh, we got Oh, JD enjoyed the interview with Gordy. Keep these interviews coming, please. No doubt. And again, looking forward to catching up with Jim Thomas here in about 16 minutes. But Jay, pretty impressive win. It didn't start out great in the first half. You're sitting there early in the third quarter, tied 20-20. And they're just kind of spurting a little bit, and then they turned it on when they needed to and kind of wore down Fresno State, and the defense locked it in. I think 45 yards allowed in the second half, all pretty much on that first drive. And then the offense got it going. You get the 200-yard rushers again. You get the back-to-back 300-yard rushing games for the first time in 22 years. It was a game they had to have, and a game they ended up winning with a pretty impressive 40-20 final score.
Yeah, I think the thing that's been really neat about this team is, for whatever reason, I feel like as a team, some of the in-game adjustments weren't quite clicking over the, first part of this season, and maybe even a little bit of last season. But you look at what Boise State has done against San Diego State and Fresno State down the stretch. They finished the San Diego State game on a 35-0 run, and then they finished the Fresno State game on a 20-0 run.
50-55, right?
What's that?
The last two games, 55-3 in the second half, I think.
I mean, that's pretty darn impressive. It's so funny. Do you want to start fast or finish strong? You pick your poison, I guess, or pick whatever one you want. But the finishing strong thing has certainly been a big time storyline for this team over the last two games, and it feels like it hasn't even been close in the second half. And I know for a long time we were wondering, what is the identity of this football team? We felt like they were pretty good on defense. When would we find out what the identity of the offense was? And now it is play really good defense and run the football well. And talking about defense specifically really quick, this team, I mean, they are really good. They are really stout. And what they have done is they make opponents earn it. It's so funny because we came out of that first game against Oregon State, which truly proves like you just have to scrap that game in about every way, shape, and form. But they gave up a number of big plays in that game. And the one thing that has defined this defense ever since then is their ability to limit big plays. Even go back to the UTEP loss, which I hate to bring up, but there weren't very many big plays by UTEP in that game. They had a big lost in coverage. They had one I don't know if it was a tight end or wide receiver that got free. I can't remember exactly now, but for a big play for a touchdown. But outside of that, it was just like 3 yards in a cloud of dust. And that was one of those games where they were able to do it just enough to continue to move that first down marker forward and keep Boise State's rather unproductive offense on the sideline. So they've done a great job of limiting big plays, and that's kind of been the what's defined this defense.
Okay, Bro Chill says almost as if there's a strategy with the players now. Kind of saying that tongue-in-cheek, I believe.
Yeah.
Fresh Kid V, a big Braves fan, I believe, says impressed with the ball security of the two running backs. Genty really protects the rock for a freshman. No fumbles. I'm going to knock on wood.
I'm going to knock on wood for you there, Fresh Kid V.
He actually had a pretty big fumble in the Oregon State game at the 1 yard line.
But again, I think we go back and we scrap that thing just because that game was so far from what you feel this team is about.
Fumbles I can recall. I'm just saying he did technically have a pretty key fumble at the 1 yard line, which could have made that game a little bit different. That had been
14-point swing.
At that point, they came down on the 99-yard drive or 98-yard drive, whatever it was. But you're right.
Like
last two games, he's been huge, and he said finally getting over the 100-yard mark is huge as well.
Yeah, it was. This team is. I mean, they're the real deal when it comes to running the rock right now. They have back-to-back 300-yard rushing games. They're one of 8 teams in college football that has multiple 300-yard rushing games. And I know, like, Air Force is one of those, and they only run the football pretty much, right? So
sort of drop for Tust Stats or a graphic or something to start putting on the screen here when you drop that. I don't know if
I'll let you work on that.
Yeah, I got to work on, like, some sort of like the Sports Center, dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun, or something like that. We'll find something when Jay gives us some sort of there's some music choices on here. Let me see what we got here. We got
I'll talk while you because I got one more.
We got a little music going here for you to give us some stats.
Okay. I think when it comes to that, though, only Oregon and Boise State have recorded back-to-back 300-yard rushing games against conference opponents. So the Broncos are churning out yards in a big way, and you talk about Ashton Genty. Right now he's on pace for somewhere between, I'll just call it 800 yards, because right now we don't know if you can assume there's going to be a bowl game. because they only got to win 2 more games to get to that 13-game threshold. And then, if they win this thing, they might be able to get to a 14-game with the Mountain West Conference Championship game.
Yeah.
But right now, he's on pace for about 800 yards. And the last true freshman in the Mountain West to collect 800 yards from scrimmage in a season was George Helani in 2019. So that's pretty good company for the kid to be in.
No doubt about it. And yeah, when you've got 2 guys like that, and I know somebody on yesterday's show with Johnny was saying they'd like to see both those guys in the backfield together more. I think they'll continue to make this evolve and see what it looks like and do the different things. But I mean, to have to feel pretty good now about if George Helani needs a breather, it's not a bad number 2 option to have in there. And this also is allowing George Helani to not need to get 30, 35 carries a game.
And it's some of those tough carries too, BJ. They're alleviating from George's workload. When Boise State is up 10, trying to polish off Fresno State, I really thought that it was George Helani time to finish off that thing, but it was actually Ashton Jeanty that was out on the field, and that says a lot about the confidence the coaches have in a kid that is a true freshman, and it means a lot to George Helani where you can kind of spell him at times and truly keep him fresh. And I think we've seen that pay off already, man. 157 yards on only 17 carries. That is a big time average. I know he had a 59-yarder that really helped that, but that's a big time average right there. And you talk about that 59-yard run, BJ. That's the longest run that the Boise State football team has had out of a running back since Alexander Madison was on campus in 2018. So running backs had, I think I looked this up, I think it was 1,027 carries in between those 59-yard runs. So the explosiveness seems to have returned to the Boise State ground game.
And I'm trying to find the stat here, but I think Helani, Jeanty, and Green are all averaging more than 5 yards a carry. That's to have 3 guys that are, you're going to consistently get first downs in 2 plays when they're running the ball. I mean, it's and they're leaning on that offensive line. We've talked about, there's been some issues. Clint says, I like seeing different guys get in there Saturday. Ben Ford being one of them. So they were getting a few more guys involved.
Ben was targeted in the red zone. Like he was on, and one time he was targeted, but he was in on a couple of red zone series. So they clearly see something out of Ben Ford. And then we talk about 3 defensive tackles on the field at one point in time. We were in the press box, and
I didn't believe you. I had my head down on that play, or I just thought it was somebody flailing for the ball in the corner of the end zone.
Yeah. And the play didn't count because there was a penalty on it anyways, right? But Jackson Cravens was on the field, and one thing we don't give him credit for is that was kind of a broken play where Talon rolled out, and he kind of kept alive at the back of the end zone and almost caught one near the sideline.
Jackson Cravens. He was trying to keep his feet in bounds as he's falling down. You go, that was Jackson Cravens. I'm like, no.
You're like, it's got to be 84. I'm like, dude, it was 94. That was Jackson Cravens. And then we look up on the little tiny screen up in the corner, like, yeah, that was Jackson Craven.
I was a little frustrated watching playoff baseball at that point. My head was, after I saw it was incomplete, I just kind of put my head back down, and you're like, yeah, Jackson Cravens. I'm like, what? And then I didn't even realize that I guess Gums and Matlock were out there too, and they're going to expand that package. And if you'd have had the Ben Ford, Jackson Cravens targets in the same game parlay, you're probably not needing to do this show. Because that would have been quite the parlay.
That would have been like a 1 million to 1 thing, I feel like.
Let's see here. Jeanty has a little bit of Doug Martin in him.
He just has Andy put this best after the game. He doesn't give defenders much to hit. Like, he's kind of small. He knows how to square himself up at contact, and also just kind of be just elusive enough where it's hard to hit him.
I saw somebody, it was Mountain West Wire, one of those kind of national Twitter accounts that covers the Mountain West. They tweeted something yesterday, reminder that, Boise State's still a very high-level school in terms of recruiting.
Well, hey, this is why they went out and got Keith Bonifaz, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he went in and grabbed Ashton Jeanty, and there's another really talented kid out of Texas right now that they're trying to get on campus to come to Boise State next year. So
I think that Jeanty was already signed before Bonifaz.
Was he?
Yeah, because he signed in December and came in January, and that's when they brought in Bonifaz. I'm pretty sure. Let's give our guy Winston Venable a little love.
Okay, yeah, I'm good with that.
Winston's told some stories. He was the one that was one of the main guys that got him, but didn't get it. Bonifaz doing all the coaching and stuff, but I think Jeanty was committed in the fall.
Well, I'm never going to be one to dismiss Winston because he's awesome. So, my bad.
The point is, you think about Green. You think about now. Was Green a Harsin? Now let's go back.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think when he committed. I think he committed.
Yeah, he would have been a Harsin guy.
Yeah, but he stayed. Yeah, he and so I guess you can't give Avalos credit for Green, but Genty's a big one, and that certainly was a guy that they wanted to get. And you mentioned the other guy in Texas. I mean, Boise State, as they said, can still recruit, and obviously there's a lot to it. The defense deserves a little bit of love as well, though, Jay, and particularly a guy like Zeke Noah. We mentioned him on yesterday's show, but you had a stat going back even further. Boise State had one with forced fumble, an interception, and a pick. You got to go back to Kekala Kaniho in the Vegas Bowl, but then you throw in 5 tackles, and it goes back, even further back?
Even further, yeah. The only guys that, whether it be in the same game, 5 or more tackles, a pick, a forced fumble, and a sack. There's only 4 guys in the last 22 seasons that have done that. Colt Brooks, Jamar Taylor, and Dante Dion. And if you're in any conversation with Dante Dion when it comes to making plays on offense, that's a good conversation to be in, because that guy was, he was elite at forcing turnovers. He was so good.
Boise's going to have to find some money to pay and keep some of these coaches. Cutter's gone, got it, but there's some talent that could get poached.
That's going to start to be a storyline. Spencer Danielson is working wonders right now, and I know Andy Avalos oversees all this, so it'll give you great confidence that his background will be able to shape this regardless. But Spencer Danielson, Frank Miley, Kane Ione, these guys are doing some serious work right now on the defensive side of the ball. And we said it about Frank when he first arrived on campus, BJ, like, oh, that's a guy you could see being a head coach one day. I think Kane Ione is a guy you could absolutely look at and see, like, I could see him being a head coach one day. And Spencer Danielson, come on, what can't that guy do if he wants to?
Yeah. Let's see. Breezy Dunbar coming is what Nick said.
Yeah.
That'll be a big one. We mentioned, what Noah did, but this defense as a whole, Jay, it is pretty impressive. You mentioned Danielson, but their dominance of, I know in the first half there were some folks frustrated with how things were going, but as you said, they locked down when they needed to, man, and they're starting to complement each other here with the running game and the defense, and it's the new look Broncos here. But there were 18 pass attempts by Taylon Green in that game, so it wasn't like he, they ran the ball every play, but I think it was 52-18. So you're looking at.
But we're at a situation, BJ, where, like, with what they have on offense right now, they're playing to their strengths, right? And so in the past, maybe the run complemented the offense. Right now, the pass is complementing the run game, and they're doing just enough in the ground or in the passing attack to maybe keep some people honest. And I after the game, it's funny because Taylon only had 22 yards, and if you look at his passing stats, you're like, they don't blow you away, but at the same time,
someone in his family tweeted back at me bickering at my tweet. So yeah, I saw the stats.
Oh, I didn't see your tweet, bud. I'm sorry.
No, I said something about his numbers maybe aren't always going to be super pretty, but he's going to get the job done and open things up for other guys. And he's not going to complete 90% of his passes, and he's not going to run every game for 100+ yards. Like, you look, I know what you're about to say, and I'm sorry to cut you off, but his overall stats, running and passing, don't really blow you away. And if you look at those stats, you could easily have gone, oh, they lost that game if that's what your quarterback did. But it may not always look super pretty in terms of the passing yards and the high completion percentage and all that, but it's looks like he's more times than not going to help this team win.
Well, you mentioned it, that you look at the yards per carry average of Ashton Genty and George Halani. Those dudes deserve a ton of credit. Don't get that wrong. But at the same time, there's a reason why they are finally getting freed up a little bit on the inside in between the tackles. And George Halani said this after the game. He went over and told Taylon, they're scared of you. Like, that's the reason why they're putting so much emphasis on not allowing you to get out on the perimeter. Like, they're scared of you, and it's really helping the Boise State running backs. And so you see 22 yards, it seems a little meager, but, man, what Taylon Green's presence out there is really helping some guys. So there's going to be some selflessness to this game that he'll just have to get at a young age and not feel bad about 22 yards rushing, more focus on the fact that as a team, they went for 316, and he's a big reason of why they were able to do that. And when it comes to passing, kid's a freshman. Like, he's a freshman. he's going to hit on a couple of these shot plays. He almost had another one to Billy Bowens, which would have really changed the dynamic of his pass stats. If he hits on that, all of a sudden he's 11 of 18 for closer to 180 yards, and that I think that's what it's going to be. It's not Air Force, but it's kind of Air Force-y, where you might throw for 200 yards on 20 attempts instead of throwing for 250 on 30 attempts.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, final thing, Jay, as we spin this forward before Jim Thomas comes on to talk soccer, you mentioned Air Force. Obviously, the bye this week comes at a good time probably to get some extra triple option work for Air Force next week. But big picture, Jay, final thing. I mean, you look at this team now, and there's no reason to think this team isn't going to be hosting a Mountain West Championship game here in early December. I mean, it's crazy what 2 weeks can do, but I know San Jose is playing pretty well on the other side, but they don't play them in the regular season. Now with Air Force losing to Utah State, Boise State could go lose to Air Force, still win the other 4 Mountain West games and be in the championship game. So Boise State's in a pretty good spot right now. They've got a 2-game cushion essentially, or I guess a 1-game cushion where you could lose a game and still be okay. And so, I mean, it's as bad as it's been. We're going to look up in early December, I think, if things continue like this with the schedule they have left. And here we are hosting, Boise State hosting a championship game again.
Well, all of a sudden now, BJ, the next time Boise State steps on a field is in Colorado Springs against Air Force, right? It almost kind of feels like they're playing to get into the Mountain West Conference Championship game that day. It'll be October 22nd, and if they win that game, man, they almost put this thing to bed. I know that they're not going to feel like that at all. Like, I get it. But if Colorado State is awful, they are. I wonder if I'm going to say Colorado State's going to get shut out. I don't think Colorado State will score a point against Boise State.
Wow, hot take! Yeah. Hot take on October 11th. Yeah. We'll save that.
And that means that Utah State, Nevada,
Wyoming, and Nevada, yep.
And none of those really scare you, especially the way that Boise State's playing. Like, now all of a sudden that trip to Laramie isn't as intimidating because of the way that Boise State's running the football. Like, you worry, you run into snow, wind.
It's always one of those late November games with weather. You never know what to expect. And JD says he hates it when we say this because we're jinxing the whole thing.
I know. I'm sorry. Sorry, JD. But this was the toughest stretch. When the schedule came out, everybody circled this 2-game stretch. And despite the fact it was on the blue, this would be the defining moments of Boise State's season. And guess what? They outscored the defining moment 75-33, and they outgained the defining moment by 600 yards. They got through a little part of the gauntlet here, and now they get a bye before Air Force. It should be awesome. Can't wait to see this defensive line play against Air Force. You look at their stats too. I mean, we talk about Talen's stats seemed modest, but at the same time, he helped his teammates, this defensive line. You looked at their stats last game, pretty modest. Nothing jumped off the page, but there's a reason why Ezekiel Noah and DJ Schramm are absolutely eating at times this season, and it's because they have a really good defensive line in front of them.
Yeah, well, it's crazy what can happen in a couple of weeks, and now the excitement level amongst Bronco Nation is much higher now that the path is looking like it still could end up in I mean, who would have thought 2-2, and people are wanting Avalos fire. They could be 9-3, 10-2. You guys got BYU games going to be a tough one, but in terms of conference play, win that conference championship. And I know nobody cares about us, Jay, but I always root for the pre-Christmas bowl games. That LA Bowl on the 17th would not be one that I would be disappointed with. But we'll see what happens. I see Coach Thomas dialing in. So, Jay, we'll let you go. Appreciate it. Thank you for coming on, and we'll talk to you on Friday, man.
Sounds good, bud.
There he is, Jay Tust, sports director over at KTVB. I want to tell you about a couple of our great sponsors. How about Idaho Central Credit Union, ICCU.com. You can get more information there. And again, don't go anywhere. Jim Thomas is going to talk some Boise State soccer here in a minute. They're on an unbelievable streak. Wait till you hear about the streak that they're on right now. Somebody mentioned that Boise State Esports team. Yes, Boise State has an Esports team. Idaho Central Credit Union partners with them. And we got a really cool announcement to make here next week, I believe, about what's going on with they're doing a tournament to raise some money for charity, and Bronco Nation News is going to have a team in there. We want some of you guys to play. So if you're a gamer, be ready for the announcement that is upcoming here in just a little bit. Hey, United Commercial Insurance, they can write business policy insurance in 44 states around the country, workers' comp, liability, all that good stuff. UnitedCommercialInsurance.com. Check them out. Give them a call, 229-8222. Ask for Brandon. Quick call could save you hundreds of dollars. Tell them you heard about it on Bronco Nation News. They'll hook you up with a good deal. Matt Bauscher Real Estate, the #1 ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley. No home is too big or too small for Matt Bauscher. Make sure you check him out. He's part of the Amherst Madison Real Estate Advisors at BauscherRealEstate.com. Timberstone Golf Course, play Timberstone.com. Perfect weather right now. Was out there last week. The course is in great shape. So play Timberstone.com. check it out. Timberstone Golf Course out in Caldwell. It's a great spot, and we really appreciate Timberstone Golf Course for their support of Bronco Nation News. Well, as promised, we get a chance to talk some Boise State women's soccer here. The head coach, Jim Thomas, joining us. I like that hat, Jim. That's a pretty style-looking hat there. But
yeah,
we appreciate
flat bill.
it, man.
I didn't know. I didn't know I could get away with a flat bill, but apparently I can.
There you go, man. The cool kids are loving it. But 10 years now as the head coach of the Boise State soccer program. You guys are having another tremendous season. We appreciate you joining us. How's it going?
Great. Happy to be here. Thanks for having us.
What's this been like for you? We'll get into kind of the records with all the scoreless streak and the ties and all that, but you guys are off to another year. You had another good weekend, and you're heading to Fresno this week. How's life as the head coach right now?
It's good. We're in the trenches. We've got 5 games to go, and every point counts. So it's a matter of trying to get those finer details to turn 1 point into 3 and make sure 1 point doesn't turn into 0. So the whole league's super tight right now. So it's fun, but it coming to an exciting end for no doubt.
Now you're undefeated in the last 11 matches, 5-0-6. It's a program record for the longest unbeaten streak in program history. You haven't lost a match since September 1. I know you'd rather be 11-0 than 5-0-6 in that stretch, but the run you're on right now, how are you guys doing it?
Defense. We're so good at the back, and I say that now, it's like the commentator's curse. You must just give up 5 goals on next weekend, but we're doing really well from a collective standpoint, and we pair both sides of the ball really well together, where the way that we attack enables us to defend in a really good way. And if you look on the other side of the statistics, we outshot our opponent 24-2. I think we've given up something like 8 shots in the last 4 games on goal. So it's not just about how defending, but we're also producing great opportunities to score from that. And we're just a little unfortunate on the weekend.
Now, I said, we can knock on wood. We have to talk about it, I guess, just because it is what the story right now with your team. But 8 straight shutouts, program record, haven't given up a goal in 750 minutes of play. I mean, have you ever been a part of a stretch like this?
No, that's a lot of math you just did there. Good for you.
We'll give Matt Brumley the credit. Matt Brumley gave me the
He's no math wizard, so that probably took him a week to get there. It's fun. I think the biggest thing that you notice with streaks like this is the pride that players start to take in it. As a coach, we're part of things for a long time. As you mentioned, this is my 10th season, and we've been through a lot over the last 4 or 5 years. And when I look through my career, it's not exactly been plain sailing the entire way. So when we get into good spots, I take a lot of pride in that. My staff, Liz and Max, take a lot of pride in what they're doing and how we all come together to contribute to success. But sometimes the players don't grab hold of that the same way. And some people call it buy-in or whatever. But for us, creating a culture that they're a reflection of and that they get to define is a real key component to this. But what gets lost in all of this process-oriented stuff is that we're in a results-based business. There needs to be an outcome. And every Thursday and Sunday, there is one. For that, these players really get to look at those statistics and say, you know what, I'm proud of that. I'm going to hold on to that. I'm going to fight for that. And if you listen to Jocelyn after the game yesterday in her post-game interview, it's all she talked about, the pride that every player is taking in the fact that we're continuing to keep clean sheets. So hopefully that'll keep up.
Now, we talked a couple of weeks ago, and maybe I got this kind of incorrectly, but I remember you talking about how you guys were scoring at a record pace at the time, and you said, but you said with that was you might give up some goals too because you're going to be more on the attacking end trying to score.
Right.
What changed?
I honestly don't know. To be frank with you, I think some of the things that retrospectively I see now, where we were very reliant on a freshman goal scorer in Hayden. You put a great piece out on her, and she's an excellent player. I think you saw a rebound performance from her on Sunday, but imagine the stress and the fatigue that kid's carrying when she's only doing it for the first time, and all of a sudden the weight of the program is on her to score. I think that starts to make you a little fuzzy, maybe, and her movement wasn't as good. Her technical stuff wasn't as sharp, and I think a little break from the game, a little step back for her really, really helped her. And she looked fantastic on Sunday. And I think she's going to get back on track here real quick. But I think that's really what starts to happen as you go through a season, is that you're going to find fatigue. People will emotionally and mentally get a little fuzzy, and you have to work through those ebbs and flows. And obviously there's a heavy amount of scouting now. So it's no surprise what anybody's doing, and they should be trying to stop it. So you have to continue to try and evolve faster than that wave. And certainly from a defensive standpoint, we've done that. From a creating opportunity standpoint, we've done that too. I just think we need to be a little sharper in converting them and fine.
Now, we've seen your goalkeeper obviously get some Mountain West awards and things like that. I mean, are you guys?
Yeah.
I mean, are you playing? If someone maybe hasn't come out and seen a lot of these games, are you guys playing a quote unquote defensive game? Is it possession that you're keeping it away from them? Is she just making a ton of great saves? How do you? What has been the secret to this streak?
Yeah, it's quite the interesting stat. So we're second in the league for shots taken. We're second in the league for goals scored. But we're 11th in the league for saves made. She's only actually made 39 saves all season.
Wow.
So she's protected. But of those saves, if you go back and watch the Colorado State game, it was a world-class save. She doesn't make that save, we lose 1-0. So these ties have been preserved. Yesterday, she came out through about 4 or 5 of their players and punched the ball out of danger. And it saved the game in the last 10 minutes of it. So she's good for 1 or 2 absolutely world-class saves a game. But thankfully, she has a group in front of her that are keeping it down to about that. And they need to make sure they continue to do that. But you mentioned it there a little bit. We control a lot of the flow of the game. Statistically, we get a lot of this stuff analyzed. The analytics in our game now are quite important. And we've averaged over 400 passes per game, which is a lot. It's comparable with the Premier League. We've had a high of 570 connected passes.
Wow.
Out of 700 attempted. That we just have the ball a lot. And that means that the other team is more fatigued. So when they try and attack us, they don't have the same juice. Easier for us to stop them, get back on it. But the games are actually open. And the more open that they are, the better for us. We're actually an attackingly set up team. We play an attacking style. The defense is an attacking style of defense. And again, I think if you statistically look at how many opportunities we're creating, we should be scoring goals. If you were to evaluate whether they were good or you're just jacking shots from the halfway line, they're not. We're in. It's just been a little bit of an unfortunate rub of the green. And I think if we can stay to it, those things are going to fall for us really soon.
We're visiting here for a couple more minutes with Jim Thomas, the 10th-year coach of the Boise State women's soccer program here on Bronco Nation News Live at bronconationnews.com. And so I think, in the last 7 games, 5 of the games have been scoreless, right? 5 ties in the last 7 games. I mean, is that, I guess, as someone that's not a guy that follows soccer by the way, I'm going to have to as much because my hometown of St. Louis, we just got an MLS team that starts next year. So I'm forcing myself now and following what you guys are doing the last couple of years. I'm trying to force myself into becoming, you're getting me on board, coach, into soccer here. But 0-0 ties, it doesn't really do it for me. I know maybe for you and the purist of the game, you love it, but this might be a dumb question, but why don't they go to PKs in the regular season or something? Why do you end it as a tie?
So we used to. This is the first year in the NCAA's history that they've gotten rid of sudden death overtime. So you play 2 10-minute intervals, and if you scored in that period, the game was automatically over.
Okay.
And then they've never gone to penalty kicks in the regular season, but they would do in the playoff segments of the season. So that will come back. So will the overtimes when we get into the conference tournament and into the NCAA tournament. Now, they're just trying to reduce the amount of minutes that players are playing. Playing 2 games this close together and this many games in this short of a period of time has a lot of health risks to it. That's not great for the players, and they're trying to protect them. But I get it. My wife asks me that every single day. What are we doing? And you can look at it from 2 lenses, right, BJ? You can look at it from the perspective of if you're the lesser and you manage to get your way to a tie, great, love ties. If you're the greater and you just can't get ahead, you're disappointed you don't have another opportunity to put them away. So it's the way that the world plays the game. It feels very customary for me. I'm not really that bothered by it. I think it's frustrating from our perspective because we've been such the protagonists in all of the games that we've played that have been ties especially. And I think out of all of those ties, I think one of them I felt comfortable with. UNLV, we weren't very good. I don't know whether we deserved to win that game, and that ended up in a tie, and it's fine. But the rest of them, we should have won. We should have won moving away with it. So it's something for us to learn and adjust to, but the rest of the league are having to do that too. And so are the rest of the country. There's more ties now than ever. So
I was going to say,
you're
15 games in and you've had 7 of your 15 games end in ties. I mean, is that a higher percentage than usual?
Yeah. Yeah, the most, I think in my 10 years, the most we've had in an entire season has been 6. So
Wow.
that'll tell you something. And, you know, you usually get a result, right? You know, I think the statistics came out that of all of the overtimes we had previously, 50% of them were actually decided. So now we've lost 50% of the ties becoming an actual result. Everywhere across the country, there's just more ties. And another way for us to look at it, though, is we've only lost twice.
Yeah.
You know,
It's great from that standpoint. Now you mentioned Hayden. She's got 7 goals. You know, Morgan Stone, Kenzie Mcmillan with 4. Just want to give you an opportunity to touch on some of your individual you know, players, and you know, it's obviously been a team effort to get to this point, but you've had a couple that have really stepped up.
Yeah, I mean, starting with the assists, I think Ashley Bergey's leading our team in assists right now, and she does a very understated role really, really well, about as active a player as we have. Carly Cross statistically hasn't actually popped as much as she is maybe one of the most exciting players we have. She's so aggressive off the dribble and expressive with the ball, but you're right. It's Kenzie Mcmillan who's come into prominence in a new role. She was a midfielder out of high school and came in as a midfielder here, and it just didn't quite pan out. We moved her to a wide forward position, and she's just blossoming out there. And it seems like every day she's got a wonder strike in her back pocket, and we're just waiting to see it. Stoney's been really consistent for us. Set piece wizard, brilliant at the PK spot, but has really developed as a dribbler and an outside shooter as well. And was unlucky not to win it for us at the death yesterday as well, so that was tough. And I think Hayden's a bit of a reprisal of our former great in Ramey. You know, we haven't had a 9, a central striker that's been willing to take responsibility of when we give you the ball, you're going to create goal scoring opportunities for us. And she's really doing that, even in this small drought that she's in. It's not any different to the way that she's playing every day. It's just the ball hasn't rolled in the goal. And all of those guys build off of a great platform. Morgan Pador is a phenomenal 6, probably the best holding midfielder in the league. And the way that she wins the ball and sets the stage for us is almost like a quarterback in football, and it allows everybody else to go where they need to go. And we are very, very aggressive with our defenders. You saw that yesterday, the likes of Joss and Mace, Dorian, Peyton, and Abby just carrying the ball 20, 30 yards up the field. So if you do come out and watch, it's an exciting thing to watch. It's just a little bit more maybe like a pitcher's duel at the moment, where you get into the 9th inning and it's 0-0 who's going to break the tie. So that's the way it's rolled for us. But it's been a fun deal watching these guys grow from an attacking perspective.
Well, I know it's hard to figure out the standings with all these ties in the league, and I know there's a formula and stuff, but I think you guys are tied with Utah State, right, for 2nd right now. I mean, you're up near the top. Right. How do you I know there's a lot of games left, but do you feel pretty good about the direction of this team? And is this one of the teams that you think could reach some of the levels that some of your previous teams have?
Yeah, I mean, you win out, you win the league. So everything's ahead of us at this point, and that's good. Certainly, it's going to be a tough run. I think 4 out of the last 5 games with players in the teams in the top half of the league, and that's what we're about anyway, playing in big games like that. This team have all of the attributes. You need a little bit of luck. You need a little bit of consistency and form to hold true. But we're in a good spot right now. It's an important weekend for us, being on the road right before a massive home game weekend with San Diego State and New Mexico coming in 2 weeks. So it's getting down to it. 5 games left, everything to play for. But as you said, I mean, it's super tight. There's like going into the weekend, there was only 1 game defining 12th to 1st. Now we're starting to see a little bit of separation. If we can keep ahead of that curve, we'll be right there at the end.
Well, before we let you go, Coach, I know you're busy and you don't have a lot of free time, but for Bronco Nation out there, I mean, there's a lot of sports going on right now. Whether it's playoff baseball, you got NFL, you got college football. What when you're at home and you get a rare free second, are you watching Netflix? Are you watching NFL? What do you like to do when you get some free time?
It depends what time of the day it is. If it's the crack of dawn, then I'm Premier League all day long.
All right.
Until about the kickoffs for the NFL. And then if it's a Saturday, then I'll go college football all day. And if it's a Sunday, we'll go on to the NFL. And then my wife takes over in the evening, and we seem to end up with some either housewife show, rebuild your house show, or Dateline. So we'll go through the whole gambit in the evening. But
I know how that goes.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, I have to go across the pond, so I got to keep in touch with what's going on back home.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, we really appreciate your time. You mentioned a big weekend coming up with a couple of road games. Thursday, you'll be at Fresno, and then obviously you mentioned coming back home. It's going to be Thursday, October 20th, a week from Thursday, 4 o'clock against New Mexico. Sunday, 1 o'clock against San Diego State. Hopefully you've been getting some big crowds out there. Hopefully you'll get it again next weekend, but you got to take care of business, obviously, on the road this weekend first. Jim, really appreciate your time, and we'll see you out there at the complex here shortly, and looking forward to following you guys as you push towards another Mountain West title.
Appreciate you. Thanks for having me on.
There he is, Jim Thomas, the soccer coach at Boise State. Appreciate him for joining us. Hey, make sure you check out rowpaint.com, the official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics. I've had some work done from them on my back patio, my garage. They just do a tremendous job. So they're offering 10% off right now for the interior home painting as well. So check them out. All your painting needs, look no further at rowpaint.com. We appreciate them. Hey, Tough Town going on out at Lithia, Florida. Boise, they're the sponsor of our pre- and post-game shows. One of our major sponsors here at Bronco Nation News could not do it without the folks at Lithia, Florida, Boise. So please make it out there. Check them out. You can shop online. You can get do what I did when I purchased my truck from them. I looked online, found the couple that I liked at lithiafordboise.com, then went over to their location on Fairview and test drove them and picked the one I wanted and could not be happier. So thank you again, Lithia Ford of Boise. Make sure you check them out. lithiafordboise.com for the next time you're looking to purchase that car or truck. They are a proud sponsor of Boise State Athletics as well. We got a little bit of time here. If you got another question or a comment, I will see what we got rolling here. What does the rest of the week look like for BNN? Well, tomorrow's the Winston Venable show. So we got the Wednesday Winston Venable show as usual with Winston at 9 a.m. We're going to check in with Kaylin Downs, the women's golf coach, tomorrow as well around 9:30. So women's golf already won a tournament this fall. They're having a tremendous start to their season, the fall season. So we'll check out women's golf. Tomorrow night is BNN After Dark. That'll be 8 p.m. tomorrow night, Mountain Time. Jarrell Root scheduled to join us. Played with Winston on some of those teams there. And if you don't know Jarrell, man, pack a lunch. You're in for a good time, man. Bring your popcorn. Jarrell Root is hilarious. He'll tell some great stories, and I'm guessing that Jarrell Root will be the best one we've had yet on BNN After Dark. So get ready to have some fun if you're one of the 603 paid subscribers over at BroncoNationNews.com. If you want to jump in, you can. $6.99 a month if you want to do the monthly, or you can do the yearly, and you can have access to all of our previous BNN After Dark shows, as well as tomorrow night with Jarrell Root. So that's a subscriber-only show. You can access that on BroncoNationNews.com by clicking up, hovering your mouse over the live videos tab, and then click on the BNN After Dark, and the link will be there to watch that show tomorrow night at 8 p.m. And then also you'll get an email sent to you tomorrow morning with the link to watch it that way as well. But if you don't get the link on the email, you do have access to that via the website on the BNN After Dark page under the live videos tab. So that'll be Jarrell Root with Winston and Johnny tomorrow night. And then Thursday, I'll be Mike Prater. We'll talk some Boise State volleyball as well. Sean Garris will join us on Thursday. And then on Friday, we'll talk with Leon Rice, and we'll do some men's basketball talk on Friday with Jay Tust and myself as well. So Kay Foster's asking more about the esports team. Yes, they have an esports team. I believe it is Call of Duty is the game, but they're having I don't want to give too much away, but they're having they're trying to raise some money for the Idaho Food Bank, I believe, with our sponsor at Idaho Central Credit Union. And we're going to donate $1,000 and enter a team for Bronco Nation News. And anybody that wants to play, we're going to have some openings for some viewers to play. We'll have the coach of the esports team on next week, and we'll make that announcement official and talk about that and get the particulars out there for you. But if you're a gamer, an esports guy, let me know. Send me an email or a tweet, and we'll see about maybe getting you on the team if you're a subscriber to Bronco Nation News. Is there a transfer portal for esports? I'm not aware of that. I don't know the answer to that, but I got a pretty cool setup there with the esports team. So appreciate everybody for checking us out. Appreciate all of our sponsors. Again, hope we'll see you tomorrow night, BNN After Dark. That'll be with John Mallory, Winston Venable, and myself. If you're watching us on YouTube right now, please go ahead and click that subscribe button. Click that like button. I know it takes a couple of seconds, and it really helps us out in all the algorithms and things like that. We are crushing it on YouTube right now. We're up to 1,540 subscribers on YouTube. So anytime we have all these live shows, any of our highlight packages, you can go watch highlights from the last game, press conference interviews with Coach Avalos, the players, all that stuff gets put straight up to our YouTube channel. So you can watch all those in full. You just subscribe, youtube.com/Bronco Nation News. So we appreciate you for subscribing to the YouTube channel. And again, if you're already watching on YouTube, that's the easiest way to comment, to watch all the shows. Just click that subscribe button there. We would really, really appreciate that. Any Hank news? No, have not seen anything on Hank. And by the way, I've had 10 of you say it. We will get Hank Bachmeier removed from the intro video. We're actually working on a new intro video with a couple new commercials, and we're actually trying to get some new sound for the different shows and be a little more specific. So we are working on the intro video. Colin Mitchell's all over it, so I don't need 10 more emails that take Hank Bachmeier off the intro video. We are working on that. So appreciate everybody for checking us out. Thank you to all of our sponsors. We could not do this without all of our sponsors, and we thank you so much to them. And thank you to you. And again, 603. We're now over 600 paid subscribers, and we're moving upward and onward to our next goal. And we're going to keep this thing rolling the best we can. So appreciate all of you for checking us out. Hope you have a good rest of your Tuesday. I'm going to do some more research on this WWE thing and probably get a story up on BroncoNationNews.com. But we'll be back with Winston Venable, the Winston Venable Show tomorrow at 9 a.m. If news breaks, we'll be back sooner than that. Have a great day. Appreciate you. And again, we'll talk some women's golf tomorrow as well. But mostly it'll be Winston Venable, Boise State football, 9 a.m. tomorrow. So have a great day. Again, if news does break or something big happens today, I'm not expecting that, not hoping for that, but we'll jump back on if we need to get a show going or if we need to get a story up on the site. But we'll otherwise be back 9 a.m. tomorrow with Winston Venable. Appreciate all you guys. Good show, dude. Love learning about the other sports. Appreciate you, Kay Foster, for the comments. Hope everybody has a great day. Enjoy the playoff baseball today, and we'll be back 9 a.m. tomorrow. Go Mariners, and go to the whichever team you're rooting for. But that'll do it. My name is BJ Rains. Go subscribe, BroncoNationNews.com. Help us out, and you'll hopefully be appreciated, or you'll hopefully appreciate it because we certainly do. So have a great day. We'll talk to you later. Bronco Nation News, BroncoNationNews.com.